Half-time then in London. It's the US 1, Colombia 0. I'm Dan Thomas, joined by Craig Burley and Shaka Hislop to get their thoughts on the opening 45 minutes of action. Let's start off by bringing you the highlights. Of course, it was a sellout crowd at Craven Cottage for this tie. Jurgen Klinsmann making a couple of surprise inclusions in his starting 11. Josie Altidore, though, captaining this side against James Rodriguez's Colombia. And it would be a penalty to the US early on. Was this a penalty, gents?
It was certainly a handball, but I think there was a little nudge just before it by Ruben on Armero that put him off balance. So, yeah, I mean,
I have to say, at first look, I thought it was shoulder to shoulder, and some replays a little bit deceiving in that manner, but Armero, I thought for an experienced player, shouldn't be giving the referee that easy a decision. After
that goal, it was just a continuous wave of yellow attack from the Colombian side. This was their best ever. Carlos Bacca hitting the post.
The Colombians have played some really nice football. We know that. They're a good side. But at the end of the day, the US have a 1-0 lead.
And Brad Guzan yet to make a save of any real note.
Well, this is it, isn't it? The US are 1-0 up then at the break. Boys, can they hold on?
Early signs are no, but we know in friendlies managers will want to make a number of changes. You don't know how that will affect the momentum of the game. Colombia have been the better of the two teams, though they're behind. US have to be happy with the resilience that they've shown, though.
I think the US have tried, and Klinsmann has tried to be positive by playing two strikers, the young Ruben alongside Altidore. But in some way that can be detrimental to your midfield and to bossing a game, and I think that's what they're finding out, that they've got the extra body up front, but they're not getting the service up to them, and the Colombians are bossing the midfield.
And of course, this is just a number of international games we're showing on our ESPN networks. European qualifiers dominate the horizon in Europe. You can see the likes of Scotland against Ireland, plus Portugal are in action as well. You can find those games on ESPN3 and the Watch ESPN app. Well, coming up, the moustache is groomed and it's ready. We'll be getting Alexi Lalas's views on what he saw from the opening 45 minutes in London. Welcome back. It's half-time in London. It's currently the US 1, Colombia 0. And for more thoughts on the opening 45 minutes, we're joined by Alexi Lalas. Alexi, what do you make of the first half?
I thought it was solid from the U.S. I think sometimes in these games you don't want to concentrate on too many different things, so I'll just concentrate on one thing that I saw, the commitment to playing out of the back by this team. And yes, at times it didn't work, but you know what? These are the types of games where you go right back to the well. If that's how you're going to play, if that's the philosophy, if that's the system on how this Jurgen Klinsmann team is going to play, then you do it as many times as you possibly can. And even when DeAndre Edlin loses the ball and they possibly go in, it's okay. Go right back and do it. These are the times to test that. I like that commitment to at least something tangible that we can see that this is how this team is going to attempt to play.
Alexi, I wanted to get your opinion away from the game, from what we've seen from Jeff Carlisle writing on ESPNFC.com. And we know that Don Garber and Jurgen Klinsmann have had a bit of a falling out last month with regards to the respect that Jurgen Klinsmann doesn't give MLS. And it seems to be snowballing not only now from Don Garber, but from franchise owners as well. They're not particularly happy that the coach of the US men's national team is basically telling his players not to play in the domestic league.
Well, they're not particularly happy with the coach, but I think more importantly, they're not particularly happy with the technical director of U.S. Soccer doing this. And that's an important distinction because Jurgen Klinsmann wears these two hats. I actually asked Jurgen Klinsmann, or U.S. Soccer, to define what Jurgen Klinsmann's role as a technical director is earlier this year. And they told me a bunch of different things, including the academy development program that they have there. And I think that's where a lot of this consternation comes when you talk about MLS with regards to Jurgen Klinsmann. They see this as maybe they're doing two different things. What U.S. Soccer wants in terms of the development of their players might be different at times than what an academy program at an MLS team wants. For an MLS team, it's about what's right for the club, not necessarily always right what is right with this player. And I think this is not going to end. This is going to continue. But I think it's interesting also that Sunil Gulati is Jurgen Klinsmann's boss. He calls the shots, and he has been very silent on this. Yes, he's given some comments here, but if he does not want Jurgen Klinsmann to continue to come out and make these comments, he just says, Jurgen Klinsmann, stop it. And he hasn't done that. I think he maybe likes it. I like it because it gives us something to talk about, and I do think it's important to ask these questions, and sometimes having this conflict brings about resolution and brings about questions and things that we didn't talk about before. But it's fun for us from the outside to see this going on between Jurgen Klinsmann and MLS. Jurgen Klinsmann, by the way, has no responsibility to MLS as the head coach of the national team. Maybe as technical director, it's a different thing, though.
Thank you very much, Lexi. It'll be something we'll be discussing a lot more on ESPN FC, which is with you later today. We'll be on ESPN News, not only to bring you the highlights and the discussion about Don Garber and Jurgen Klinsmann, we'll also be casting our eye as to what else has been happening in the world of football, including Inter Milan's announcement of a new coach. Join us then. We'll also be back at full time.